good, mate.
A friend of mine has a radio show called The Mixtape on a tiny community radio station in Sullivan County in New York, which is like where I am right now. His show is called The Mixtape. I was just like, oh, okay. Well, what's the list?
Okay, so
What's it about?
we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So basically, I ask guests to make up like an imaginary mixtape, and I give you some categories to put on your mixtape as we go through. So there's like,
I'm ready right now.
Okay, all right. Well, I was going to talk a little bit about the tour dates and that first, and do the intro, but
We don't need promo. All the shows are going to sell out anyway. It's the music challenge here.
okay, all right. Okay, I'll do the quick intro first. Hello, and welcome to this mixtape for KCR 102.5 FM and the Mixtape Podcast.com. I'm your host, Mark, and I'm absolutely delighted today to be chatting to John Flansburgh from They Might Be Giants. How are you, John?
I'm doing great. Sorry I'm late. I was on the radio with some fellow from some Double J radio station.
So just to give you a little bit of a heads up, in my area where I'm living in, there's a planned power outage this morning. They said they're starting in an hour's time. If I do suddenly drop out, it means they've started early. Just to let you know.
Why is there a planned power outage?
They're replacing power poles. So here in Australia, we still have power poles and overhead power cables, and the poles are made of wood, and they very often start sort of going over like that. So they come around and they just shut the power off and replace the power pole. So that's what they're doing in my street today. So yeah, just to give you a bit of an insight into my life.
So what's the music challenge?
Right, okay. So the mixtape track. So when guests come onto the show, I ask them to make up an imaginary mixtape or compilation or playlist or however you want to call it. And I give you some categories for the mixtape.
All right.
You choose the tracks, and we have a little bit of a chat about each track.
I'm living for this. So what's the first category?
Okay, so track one of your mixtape, John, is pick a song that you would kick off your mixtape in fine style, like an attention grabber that you would put on. Track one, boom, it's going to grab my attention straight away. What would you pick for that?
I guess the question is, do I pick a song from the 20th century or do I pick a song from the 21st century? Do you know the song Stupidest Girl in the World by 100 Gex?
No, I don't. No. This is the joy of the mixtape. It introduces me to new music. That's what it's all about.
Oh, yeah. 100 Gex are like this. They're in a genre. I don't know if they approve of this term, but the genre that they're put in is called hyperpop. I don't know what that means exactly, but it's got a very up edited kind of sound to it. Very kind of like lo-fi with lots of radical left turns sonically. But 100 Gex is the name of the band, and Stupidest Girl in the World is the song. It's the first song on their most recent record.
Fantastic. I'm not familiar with that one, but like I said, this is the purpose and the joy of the mixtape is. That's what the mission is of the mixtape show, is to introduce people to new music, like you used to give out mixtapes, back in the day to your friends and stuff. Right. It's just on a slightly bigger scale.
That song is a real banger. I can tell you that much.
That's certified banger is what we like to kick off the mixtape with. Yeah, for sure. So what I'll be doing, John, is on the radio show, I'll be dropping the tracks in between the chat. On the podcast, obviously it's licensed content, the music, so I can't include it in the podcast. But if you are listening on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, there will be a link in the description down below to a Spotify playlist of all of John's choices. And there will obviously be some tracks from Flood as well as that. Track two of your mixtape, John, is pick a song that you sing when you're on your own in the car or the shower.
Do I have to like the song, or should I just be honest?
Just be honest, mate. Yeah.
Oh God. Well, this brings up something that's very troubling to me, which is there is a song. I don't like this song. I hate this song, but I cannot get it out. For me, it would be like getting a tattoo on my face and looking in the mirror. Like it's that bad an idea. The song is by Billy Joel, and it is For the Longest Time. And I don't know why the song has such a hold on my mind. Maybe because the melody is kind of just a scale, but I I hate this song, but it is always, when you ask the question, I knew the answer right away.
I can imagine you give it. Do you give it the finger clicks as well and whoa like that? Do you give it all that in the shower? Is that how it goes?
The part, I mean, I don't get it. I don't relish the fact that this song is going through my mind all the time. The part that is always going through my mind is the do 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 do. Just that climbing sound is always in my mind, and it's
Okay.
diabolical.
Love a bit of Billy Joel. Love a bit of Billy Joel. Okay, John.
Yeah.
And track 3 is pick cover version, mate, for your mixtape. What cover version would you pick?
A cover, somebody recorded a cover of somebody else's song. Interesting. I'm trying to think of really good covers. Well, we've covered a lot of songs, and that's kind of clogging my imagination on this topic. Oh, the Pixies version of that song "Head On" that was originally done by Jesus and Mary Chain.
That's mad. So your episode 66, John. Episode 65 was Jim Reed from the Jesus and Mary Chain. I spoke to him about 3 days ago.
I saw Jesus and Mary Chain, and it was an amazing show. It was insane. It was diabolically short, and they were the most. I've never seen a band that seemed to have less interest in communicating to an audience than those guys. They had nothing. They had nothing to share and nothing to prove, and zero F words for the world.
Yeah.
What is like for them? What is it like for them now? I mean, I'm really intrigued that they're still in the world, because it didn't seem like they were the kind of band that, like, their show was 25 minutes long. I mean, I've seen the Ramones. But you see and it was this, it was a very different kind of vibe, but like it was a very similar thing where it was just like a sonic assault, the loudest band, just, your hair getting parted on the other side. It's so freaking loud. And it sounded amazing. But so what was he like as a dude?
Initially, it was really, because he's Scottish and he's quite dour and serious. And I felt like a bit of an inconvenience at the start of the interview. But after a few minutes, I think I won him over with the old Cockney charm a bit, John. And yeah, he was great. We were laughing and joking by the end of the interview. Yeah, it was a great chat. Yeah, really, really good one. Yeah, great one. But yeah, I wasn't aware their shows were so short. But yeah, they're playing the same venue as you are. And similarly, they're playing some shows there.
I can't imagine it being still as short. I would think people would be kind of mad. But who knows?
And I'm so glad they're still going, because I was a fan back in the 90s, and then they obviously broke up, and they're back together now. And the new album is really, really good. It's called Glasgow Eyes. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, let's move on. Track 4, John, is this one usually takes the most amount of thinking time, but track 4 is a song you wish you could play to your 18-year-old self.
Oh. Interesting. Well, let me see. I mean, kind of come at it a couple of different ways, like a sophisticated song, or just like a tricky song that was from like a long time ago. Like I was thinking of like the song "Three Cool Cats." I'm not even sure the name of the band is. Is it a Drifters song? It was written by Lieber and Stoller. The Beatles did a cover of that. It's just a really cool song. But would be a cool song. Would be something that had production values in it that no one had ever heard before, like De La Soul, like Magic Number by De La Soul.
That's a great choice.
Because everything about it would have blown my 18-year-old mind, and everything about. I mean, there's a couple of periods of sampling, studio production stuff that are really, really interesting to my ear, like hit my ear. And so, like, to me, a lot of songwriters hear Bob Dylan and they're like, oh, I'm going to write a song now. Cause it's just like, there's something about his approach that really sparks a lot of interest. To me, like acts like D-Light or De La Soul or like Missy Elliott or Timbaland, like those kinds of productions are they're so vibey and cool and jarring and original sounding to me. And even though I know, I know the song that Magic Number is based on. Like I heard that song when I was a kid. Like that's a guy named, what's his name? Bob Duro, who was like a bebop guy in New York who he worked with Miles Davis. And I know exactly what the source material is, but the actual song, the De La Soul song, has got all this extra stuff in it that just is so sparky and cool. So that would be that gets my vote.
Fantastic choice, mate. Fantastic choice. What sort of stuff were you listening
Time
to
travel,
John?
I love time travel.
What sort of stuff were you listening to as an 18-year-old, John?
Well, I'm old, so it's like I was the exact right age for punk rock and new wave to totally take over all my thoughts. I went to London in 1977 when I was 17 and I saw essentially Elvis Costello's first public performance. He'd gotten arrested a week before at the CBS record convention, but where he was essentially busking. But I saw him at the Nashville Room, and I'd been to a lot of club shows when I was 16. A friend of mine worked at the local radio station, and we had these really great fake IDs from the radio station to get us into any nightclub, sometimes for free. Like they would just wave us in. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because it must have been ridiculous to whatever the bouncer was. I mean, I was 16 years old and I looked, I wasn't going to shave for another 4 years. So, I mean, I wasn't fooling anybody that I was like 21, but I worked as a volunteer at the radio station, and we were very into rock music, and we saw a ton of bands. I saw the Cars when they were a brand new band. I saw Perubu and the Talking Heads, and just all these great bands, and it had a big effect on me. And then once punk rock really kicked in, it was my world.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to move swiftly along because I'm aware of time, John. And track 5 of your mixtape is what song would you put on your mixtape if you were trying to woo someone? If you were trying to let the person you were giving the tape to know that you're romantically interested in them, what song would you use for that?
Oh, that's a good one. Just a Little Lovin' by Dusty Springfield.
Dusty Springfield comes up in this category all the time. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Choice. Yeah. It's about the third time she's been picked for the track 5 choice. Yeah, different songs, but yeah, amazing voice. Yeah, fantastic choice, that one. Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely love a bit of Dusty, mate. And I've got loads of Dusty Springfield vinyl.
Yeah. I have a small clutch of Dusty Springfield albums on vinyl. It's odd. Like her U.S. records are really different than the UK ones. The UK ones are so amazing, and then they sort of chopped them up in the US.
Okay, finally, John, just to round out your mixtape, track 6 is something that you feel doesn't get the recognition or kudos it deserves. It's something that's a little bit underappreciated.
Well, there's so much music that's underappreciated. I'll tell you, there's a new act coming out. I think she's based out of New York City. It's this woman named Margaret Glaspie, and she's like an indie. She has some kind of major label deal, but it's like more like I don't know what you call these
development
deals, like a development deal, something like that. But she has this song called "Act Natural," and it is a killer song. It's so catchy, and she sings in a really idiosyncratic way. Although it makes me think that what is the name of this band? Well, there's kind of a contemporary way of singing that, like, a little bit more fragile that she had, that Mark Glaspie has, that I really, really appreciate.
Oh, I'll check that one out for sure. Again, that's the reason I put that question in is just to introduce myself to new music, to be introduced to stuff by people like yourself, John. And I do have 6 separate Spotify playlists. Anyone can drop into the mixtapepodcast.com. All the track 1s, all the track 2s, all the track 3s, etc.
That's great.
6 Spotify playlists, yeah. So they're all out there on the Spotify as well. So if you're listening, again, there will be a link in the description. John, really looking forward to seeing you and the other John at the Astor Theatre in Perth, metropolistouring.com for tickets. I better get that plug in just quickly. I might put a little bit of spiel in post as well, just to get a little bit of a bit more of a promo for the shows in. Can't wait to see you, mate. And thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time, mate.
I appreciate your time, and I'm going to check out these playlists. That's what a great way of doing it, like slicing it the other way.
Yeah,
I love it. Love it.
If you go to the mixtapepodcast.com, and there's a link at the top that says Spotify playlists, and they're all up there, mate.
I've already found it.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you.
Cheers, John. Thanks a lot,
cheers.
mate. Enjoy the rest of your day, buddy. See you later.
Well, all right. Bye-bye.